I'm going to continue our retopology work on this creature by going to the Points and Faces tool, and I can just click to lay down an individual point and right click to create that quad once I see a preview that I like. I'm switching to the Select tool, select these polygons, and we're just going to do like you would in Maya to extrude, or in 3ds Max you would inset the polygons with the normal extrude tool. And so this gives you a small gizmo that allows you to scale it inward as well as move it along the normal as the name implies. I'll go ahead and scale it in. I'll switch to the transform tool where I have a few more transform options. You can move it in. You can also use the free extrude tool in a very similar fashion. Once I'm done with the transform tool, I'll hit the escape key. This is one of those circumstances if your poly count is too low to cling to the surface of the voxel object, then the vertices can dip beneath that voxel object and make it very difficult, if not impossible, to reach those vertices, because 3D-Coat oftentimes will prevent you from doing so. So what I did here is I hid the voxel object in the Vox Tree Layer panel, selected the vertices that were giving me trouble, and with the transform tool I was able to nudge them into place. And the good thing about the transform tool, when you have it active, it actually ignores auto snapping and it will move it regardless if you have snapping turned on or off. And the brush tool is a good way to kind of nudge things into place, because wherever your brush is, 3D-Coat, as you click, whether you're smoothing or whether you're moving geometry around, it's going to auto snap if you have that checked at the very top of your interface. So I'm trying to smooth, and I'm still having that issue again, just a little bit. So turn the auto snap off so I could finesse these a little bit. I'm going to use split rings to add a little bit more geometry there. Go back to the brush tool. And now it's starting to take shape. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in and try and close that hole on the inside with the Points and Faces tool. I'm just right clicking once I see a preview that I like. It creates a polygon for me. Go back to split rings, add some more geometry there. So I'm just going to keep using this tool on and off. So what I'm doing now is not so much smoothing, but I'm just holding down the shift key and I'm just lightly tapping in areas where I think it's not yet snapped fully. Okay. So let's go to the Strokes tool. We're just going to kind of sketch out our topology. And when we're done, we can just hit the Enter key and it will create the geometry for us. And you'll notice when you approach a vertex, it's going to snap to that vertex, and you can see a highlighted green point where it stopped there. And when you're working on the surface of a model like this with the Strokes tool, you need to make sure you have 4 lines that intersect in order to get a polygon. We use split rings so that I have something to connect to right there. And That's the beauty of the strokes tools. You can step out of it temporarily and come back, and the strokes that you had previously laid down will still be there. These lines could be a lot smoother if I reduce the spline points density, but sometimes when you have too little spline points density, it may not create polygons there. So I'm not overly concerned with how they look at this stage, because as low polygon as they are, they won't look nearly as bad once the geometry is created. I'm going to skip forward while I'm actually sketching all this out, and we'll pick up once I'm done. Alright, now that I have everything already sketched out, I just hit the Enter key, and just got a little bit of cleanup to do. Hit delete polygons. Now points and faces, right click. Same thing here. And hold the Shift key and smooth those edge loops out a little bit. I click relax, and it's just applying a global relax to the entire mesh. But if we wanted, we could make a selection of a group of polygons, vertices, or edges and use the relax tool, and it will be isolated to the selection. I'm just kind of smoothing this out again with the brush tool. With auto snap checked, it's going to smooth and snap at the same time. I'll turn symmetry on. Invert the mirror. Gotta smooth that out a little bit as well. Undo a few times. Turn auto snapping off. Definitely have to clean this area up here, so just delete it with the delete polygons tool with a brush. Kind of straighten that up. Add and split lets you cut along geometry, and it'll also act as a move vertices tool on the fly when you right mouse click and drag a point. You could even use it to weld in the process, just like you would with a move vertices tool. So that's what I'm doing here. When I see a little red dot or highlight, I know that it's going to weld those points. And so sometimes when you do that, you might lose a polygon or two in the neighborhood. So with the points and faces, you just right click and regenerate those polygons. And the points and faces tool is also one of those where you can right click to move or tweak the vertices on the fly as well, and it will weld or move those individual vertices. So I'm pretty much just in tweak mode until we're ready to move on to the other parts of the model. I'm going to switch to the Add Split tool to make a specific cut. Kind of nudge those into place with the brush tool again. With the Slide Edges tool, I can slide entire edge loops by holding the Control key. At this stage, I'm just going to add a few minor tweaks by using the Split Rings tool to add some additional edge loops where I think I need them, and just do a little bit more nudging with the brush tool and whatnot. In the next video, we're going to pick up in the head region. So stay tuned and thank you for watching.